Greetings. I am a representative of the anti-sin movement. These videos are not edited. They are AI assisted and read from script. Today's subject is part 2 of Reason for Affliction. Reason for Affliction. Breaking the cycle of sin. Often, distress and affliction serve as the breaking point for cycles of sinful behavior. When people face the consequences of our actions, whether through catastrophic events, internal turmoil, broken relationships, or social unrest, we are more likely to recognize the futility of living outside God's lawful will. These moments create an openness to transformation. Stripping away false security. Many find security in material wealth, social status, or human achievements. However, affliction strips away these false supports, revealing them as temporary and unreliable. In this vulnerable state, individuals are more willing to turn to God's directions, laws that provide truth and lasting security. Communal awakening. Distress does not only affect individuals, it impacts entire communities, nations, or even the world. Collective suffering serves as a call for communal repentance and a return to God's commandments. It reminds humanity that we are interconnected and that the disobedience to God's laws affect more than just the individual. It disrupts the balance of society and creation itself. Fires, earthquakes, floods, drought, famine, disease, wars, eruption, snow, all used by God in order to awaken us to forces that God controls, that we may control ourselves through repentance and atonement, bringing ourselves back into the righteous order of God's creation, under God's control ourselves. God's mercy in disguise. God's mercy in disguise through painful affliction is a form of God's mercy. By allowing hardships, God prevents people from continuing on a path that leads to destruction. These experiences are like guardrails that keep us from falling into deeper sin, guiding us back to the narrow way that leads to life. The role of submission. We have to play our role of submission. Once humbled by distress, submission becomes a natural response. Submission is not mere compliance, but a heartfelt surrender to God's lawful will, born out of the realization that God's ways are higher and better than our own. Through this surrender, people find peace and restoration, as God's commandments provide the structure for a life aligned with sin-free purpose. Preparation for God's glory. Preparation for God's presence and glory. Just as a potter molds clay through pressure, or a blacksmith forges with fire, affliction prepares individuals and communities for greater works in God's kingdom. Those who endure trials with humility and remain faithful are refined and strengthened, formed to manifest God's presence in the world. Ultimately, distress and affliction are not ends in themselves, but means to lead us to the transformative power of God's commandments. When we respond with practice and submission to God's law, we open the door to healing, growth, and a deeper relationship with God. These trials, while difficult, become instruments of divine grace, leading us to the life God intended, one free of sin and full of blessings.